work. I don't know what though. Name it for sure. Alright, so I believe we are on. She's going to get her in situated a little bit. So I'll just introduce you here. If anybody that's already following the channel or is following me on Facebook probably is already aware of the situation that we've been trying to raise some awareness about. Maya's father has gone missing. Michael has been missing for a handful of days here. So we're actually sitting here with her in person, and we're going to try to do our part to raise awareness and kind of spread this out, because unfortunately our local news hasn't picked it up, and kind of need to get it around. So Maya, thank you so much for being here. I know this isn't easy or a good situation to be in, but thank you for being here.
Yep.
Let's see if that's me. Oh, just I don't know. Just do that.
Oh, really?
It doesn't like the thumbnail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yep, you're on. All right. So again, many of you know. I mean, like on my channel here, know who I am. Laura is going to be co-hosting on this one. She does a channel of her own about crime and mental health, and just about true crime stories and things like this. This one, being a local story, I feel like it just makes sense to kind of use both of our platforms to, again, just try to raise awareness. So we are kind of co-hosting and co-streaming this at the same time. So
and we are live on my channel as well with Mya Reddinger, Michael Redinger's daughter. So, yeah.
All right. So this is, what's today's date?
Today's the 13th.
Okay, just to reiterate, so I mean, this is May 13th, Tuesday, May 13th. When did he go missing? So day one.
It was Friday, May 9th.
So, I mean, how many days has that been so far?
4 days.
Yeah.
And last known tip that came in was just this past Sunday, which is now a couple days here. You still had no contact from him. No
Nope.
other family members have had
Nope.
contact from him. We did kind of discuss a little bit before this. I mean, just, even people like that he might know, co-workers. I mean, so across the board, nobody's heard from him whatsoever. So if you want to start, you can start that, and tell us a little bit about your dad, and just, again, like kind of his routine and how this is a little bit uncharacteristic for him in the least.
So, can you tell us who Michael Reddinger is, the kind of person he is, and what he means to your family?
So, growing up, my dad had always been like a hardworking person. He was always at work and then would come home and spend time with his family. He's very kind, generous. He's funny. His humor is just out the door. He's always making us kids laugh. He loved to, spend time with his kids and, now ex-wife, but we would hang out as a family a lot. He was the main provider for our family. My mom would be home most of the time, but she liked to work, so she would go out and get a job every once in a while. But he was very routine. It was always work, home, and if we ever did go out and do anything, it was always as a family, or he would let us know, like, if he was going out.
Well, so, again, you kind of touched base on this a little bit before we started. So, again, this is someone that you're very close to your dad.
Yes.
You talk to him on a daily basis. You obviously live very close to where he works. So just in the days leading up, anything seem off or anything out of place?
Not really. So the days leading up, Tuesday he had gone with me. I was going to get my nails done. I was supposed to get my nails done because I was getting married on Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
So he was going to go with me so he could sit with my daughter. So she wasn't on my lap, while I was trying to get my nails done. And so he went with me, but the nail salon was very backed up. So he was like, well, I'll just go buy you some press-ons. You can pick them out and I'll buy them for you. And I was like, okay. So we went over to TJ Maxx in DuBois, and, he sat with me. I sat there for I sat there for 20 minutes. I couldn't make up my mind what nails I wanted. So he's like, take your time, they're your wedding nails, and pick them out. And so I finally picked him out, and then we went and got something to eat, and he came back to my apartment with me. We just sat and chatted. And then Wednesday, I got married at the courthouse. We kind of eloped, and then we're going to have a big wedding in a couple years. And he was just ecstatic. He was so excited. He dressed up, and he just got new dentures 2 weeks ago, and he had them in. He was ear to ear smiling. He was so excited. And so we had a professional photographer there as well, and he even was suggesting poses for us to do for the photographer. And so nothing was really out of the ordinary that day. And then Thursday he had contacted me 2 or 3 times throughout the day, just to see what I was doing. And then he had asked me about a check he had received, and was talking to me about that. And then Friday morning, I got a call from him, and I thought it was just a normal call, and it wasn't.
Are you his only daughter?
I am his only daughter. He's
Wow.
got 3 sons.
Well, no wonder you're so excited to see you get married.
Yeah.
And again, this is why it's still so unusual that this would have taken place just right after this. I mean, you've got a fresh baby, he's got a fresh granddaughter and everything, and this all happening. So it's like, leading up to the day of, so you get a call from him, and what does he say?
Friday morning, I got a call. He asked me what I was doing, and I said nothing. It was the baby had just woken up. We just finished breakfast. And he said, "What's your routine for today?" And I was like, "Nothing. We didn't really have anything planned." And he said, "Okay, well, I'm going to need you to come over and take care of Shaggy. I put in for vacation, and I just was going to go on a little vacation, and I need someone to take care of the dog." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'll come get him, and I'll bring him here for the week." He was like, "Okay, that's fine." And he was like, "I've got some stuff on the table for you when you get here." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'll probably be there soon." He was like, "All right, well, have a good life. I love you. Goodbye," and hung up. And I didn't even get to answer. So I immediately packed the baby up, woke my husband up, and I was like, "We got to go." And we booked it over to his house.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on or not.
Yours
I just went to fucking check it too.
Yours is, but
Oh, you can see it?
I'm not. Yeah, I can see
I just went to verify just to see.
I just saw it.
But I went to look at yours and it said it was private.
What?
But you might be able to, because you can minimize this and you can check it on YouTube, I would imagine. But so maybe just go down
It
here.
says cover.
Alright, so check down here. Technical difficulties. But maybe. I would say just fucking. I know, I'm checking.
Who knows?
So, the day of, again, so his choice of wording is obviously not going to make you feel real good. And this is out of the blue. Obviously, up until this point, everything was normal.
Mm-hmm.
He cashes his checks regularly, like I said. So, you good? You think?
No.
So So you leave the house, you go over to your dad's house, which isn't far from your place. You said you live real close.
About 15 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So you get over there, and then what?
So we got there, he wasn't there, and I had even stated to my husband, I'm like, I really hope we beat him before he leaves.
Right.
And so I could tell, like, where his house was at as we were coming around the corner. I could tell his car wasn't in the driveway. We pulled in, and, you know, I ran in. He got the baby out of the car, and I ran in, and I ran to the table immediately. And on the table was both of his cell phones. He had a cell phone and a work phone. His social security card, his checkbook, his debit card, all of his, like, medical insurance cards, his,
like you said, literally anything that could be used to identify them, track them.
Yep.
I mean, we talk about a lot of different things about, like, people that live off the grid. I mean, that's, you know, the scariest thing is, like, when you don't have, like, a phone and all that stuff. I mean, really, you have no way to, like, find out where anybody's at.
Yeah.
It could really disappear,
Mhm.
you know, and again, you know, you could only hope that he, you know, was just going to blow off some steam, but his wording obviously gave you a different impression.
Yeah.
So you find all of that stuff,
Mhm.
and then what?
Well, there was a note directly in the middle between all of it, so it was, like, spread around the note. And in the note, he says, Mya, here is my debit card, my phone, my silver collection, and all of the contents of my wallet, I think, is in there. And he said, I'm on vacation until the 19th, so
From work, you mean?
yeah, trying not to choke up.
Okay, fine, take
I'm
your
on
time.
vacation until the 19th from work, so 2 more of my paychecks will be deposited into your bank account. There's a check coming next week. Sign it and deposit it into my account, and then transfer the money into your account. Everything in the house is yours. I'm up to debt to my eyes, and I can't pay it all back. I'm going on a permanent vacation. I love you so much, as always, Dad.
Wow.
So immediately I'm thinking, all right, he's not coming back. He doesn't plan on coming back. So I called my mom, and she called the cops. She called Clarion State, and they sent Brookville Borough over because it's not in their jurisdiction. Let me make sure this isn't. I knew this was going to happen. The cop's calling me that's investigating this. So can I answer this?
Put it on speaker.
Yeah.
Hopefully my phone doesn't die. Slide, please. Oh my gosh, don't do this to me right now. Hello?
Hi, it's Officer Stormer.
Okay.
So we've had several people call today saying that they believe that they see their dad in DuBois.
Okay.
Hey, can I call you right back up? I'm sorry.
Yep. Nope, you're okay.
Thanks. I'll
Yep.
see you. Bye.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Wow, how weird.
That is weird. They probably know we're live.
I mean, I could only hope. I mean, not,
Yeah.
you know, not to make, you know,
Right.
like I said, because again, this was my biggest thing is, like, you know, I don't want anyone to think like we're interfering in any way with what they're trying to do. Because again, it's like, well, I'm not downplaying or bad mouthing anything that they do. They've got their hands full. They've got, you know, whole towns and jurisdictions of people to worry about.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, boy, there's just little things that could be done. And I mean, like, again, we're young, we have social media and all this stuff. Like, you can reach thousands of people like that.
Mhm.
So if anything, you know, I would encourage more people to do this kind of stuff. And again, like, you
And
know,
that's why, like, the TikTok that blew up, I was not expecting to blow up the way that it did. It's got, like, 22,000 likes and 111,000 views or something.
Wow.
And I was like, this is crazy. But I appreciate everyone that's, like, sharing it and just blowing it up. And everyone's commenting. They're like, I'm sharing it to Facebook, and I'm sending it to my friends that, you know, drive trucks and this, and that. I'm like, this is amazing. Like,
well, that's exactly what we want.
Yeah.
And as far as just, you know, you just don't know where he might be ending up, you know. And again, like, someone in the wrong state of mind, even if he goes out just to blow off some steam, you know, he might get caught up in, you know, I mean, like I said, you just never know what could happen to somebody.
And that's what, like, when we got the tip that he was seen in DuBois, I was like, maybe that was, like, the state of mind that he had at first, but as he was driving, he was like, you know, I can't do this. I can't do it to my daughter. I can't do it to my granddaughter. I can't do it to my family. And I think maybe he just, you know, pulled off in DuBois and was like, I'm just gonna take some time. I just need to breathe. I need to just get away. And that's what I'm hoping that's what that was. And he didn't, you know.
Yeah, that would,
So,
I mean,
don't you think people would have, like, or he would have reached out by now?
That's
Instead
what
of
was
making you
scaring
worry.
me. Like, that's what, like, in the back of my mind, I was like, he would have reached out to me by now if he,
if he had a way,
didn't
I mean,
harm himself.
I mean,
Yeah.
he has a vehicle.
Well, let's hope.
You know, you can hope he has, you know, somebody who would just come back home. You would think. Does he not have Facebook? He doesn't do social media.
Do social media. No.
Yes, I
I
mean,
didn't
obviously
think
he might
so.
not know that. I mean,
Well,
obviously people are
that's
looking
why
for
I
him.
was like, we need to get flyers out because he doesn't,
Right.
and that's why I was trying to reach out to like a newscast or like a radio station because if
Right.
he's in his car, he's listening to
Right.
the radio.
Right.
And you know, I reached out to Bigfoot in DuBois Country,
right.
and they put it on their Facebook and their Instagram. I'm not sure if they did it over the radio or not. You know, I don't listen to them regularly, so I'm not 100%
Well,
sure.
and again, you'd have to catch it
Right,
right when it was
exactly.
happening too. That's the
Yeah.
only problem with radio. But like, that's where like I tried to continuously look over the days, and it's like every bit of information that was coming out was just the same information. Like it looked like most of the articles were word for word verbatim, which to me is a little bit of laziness. You know what I mean? I mean, like this is somebody's like again father, grandfather.
Right.
You know, like you're gonna copy and paste it and just
Yeah.
you know. Isn't a real journalist anymore, where people go out and ask questions and
Yeah.
maybe talk to people like he was last seen at the Sunoco. Maybe go and talk to the people at Sunoco. Anybody see
Right.
what direction he drove off in? Like
And that's
you
what,
said.
like, I went around to the neighbors to see if they had cameras. The next door neighbor, I asked her, because she's out in her yard regularly. I asked her if
Right.
she saw which way he went. She's like, I didn't, you know, I was, I had a dentist appointment at 11 o'clock, so I was in getting ready. I didn't pay attention. He had left literally not even 10 minutes before that. So, and, you know, it's such a small town. Nobody really has
Right.
cameras because it's not like a big
Oh,
crime
right.
area.
Brookville?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think like it's not like bigger cities and something where everybody's got
Right.
a ring doorbell and stuff like
Exactly.
that. You know, because I was even thinking, well, like in the city, everybody's walking around like this.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
influencer status.
And that's what I was hoping, like, someone would post a picture and his car would be in the background or something, and I'd be able to, you know, get a tip of some sort.
Well, and that's why even like the picture, which granted, you know, you never know that you're going to need a picture of the back of his vehicle or
Right.
his vehicle until something like this happens.
Yeah.
So I tried to go on Google and just try to find the
Well,
same
that's where
year,
I
make,
found.
and model.
Yeah.
And then same thing with the sticker to try to get a high resolution picture of the sticker so that people could see.
Yeah.
Because if you're not from Clarion, you don't know what that eagle
Yeah.
looks like.
And I tried putting in that there's two stickers.
The stick figure.
I'm like,
Yeah.
there's two stickers, people.
They left
Yeah.
that one out.
But
Well, yeah, I originally put it in there because, like, you know,
trust me,
it's a
I
bad
felt
word.
weird saying it on my video.
And I was like, you know, I originally put it on there, and my brother was like, you know, you might want to take that off because some people might not share it because it
But
has.
if you could, you know, put screw it or whatever.
Yeah.
I
But if
was
you
gonna
only see the
say-
vehicle from one side and you don't see
Right.
that Clarion sticker, you're like, oh,
Right.
that ain't it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
so again, we want to
Two
get to the
stickers
fucking.
do make a big impact
Yeah.
on the difference.
Exactly.
Actually.
Yeah, and that's what, you know, that makes his car stick out because, like, if he would have went to, like, Erie or something, you know, not everybody up there has
Right.
the Clarion University sticker on the back window of their car.
Right, it locks him
Right.
down to a location at least,
Yeah.
you know, where at least if he was out of town, people
'Cause
would notice.
There's
Mhm.
so many, I've noticed, you know, looking for his car, so many people own GMC Terrains.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this is insane.
That's the
Yeah,
best
it's
of
Close
my
to the
video.
same color, too.
When it's always
Yeah.
when you're looking for one, too, that you start to notice them everywhere.
Yeah.
Because before, your dad had the only one,
Yeah.
you know, so
Mhm.
it's like,
Hopefully it's not recording
it'll be fine. It's fine. Because realistically, you could just minimize it. That's just the display. But, so, I mean, we kind of just had a little bit of a brief police response. But,
Yeah.
so, from the very beginning, you've had Brookville Police has been pretty active. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, up until, like, the first 2 days, not as much. So the first officer that, you know, came to his house, he took a picture of the note and kind of just, you know, asked for a brief description, you know, what might he be wearing, you know,
because the
what
note's
color
kind of
was.
like, I mean, that
Yeah,
shows that he
and
was
that-
not in a good state
yeah.
of mind.
And so he was like, well, we'll put a bolo out for his car for a 100-mile radius, and, you know, we'll get back to you. He's like, the last time I did this, you know, 5 minutes after I put it out, they were spotted in Butler. And I was like,
Right.
okay. So, you know, I kind of just sat back and was like, you know, I was in shock. You know, I didn't know what to do at that point. I was like,
Well, I'm sure
I
part of you's
wasn't.
like, I overreacted. Maybe he's
Yeah.
just going to come back in a couple hours.
Yeah,
Like, you
and
try to calm yourself
And
down.
the other half was like, this isn't real. Like, I'm asleep. this is a dream. This isn't happening. And so, I called them that night and asked if there was an update. I got a little bit of an attitude on the phone. They were like, well, we would call you if we had an update. And I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry. Like, I was just, I just wanted to know.
They gotta understand.
Yeah. And so, the next morning, I still hadn't heard anything. And this is whenever I kind of went into hyperdrive. I was like, I've got to do something. Like, there's got to be more that we can be doing. The cameras at the gas station where he pulled the money out. Or, like, if he went up towards the interstate, there's got to be some kind of business up there that has a camera that points towards the road.
That's what I said. Yeah, because that's a highway, and there's so many connecting
major
roads.
Yeah.
Goes all the way across
To
the
that 28.
Yeah.
To Route 28.
So I called them that next Saturday morning, and, dispatch had an officer reach out to me, and I was like, I'm just wondering, like, what all is being done to investigate. And they're like, well, we're driving around town looking for his car. We've gone past his house a couple times. He's not there. I'm like, clearly he's not there. Like, he's not.
Well, see, that's where I'd be like, well, I could be doing that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
like,
what about
I
the
could be
police
sitting
that
in
have
his
all
house
these
waiting for him to
resources?
come home if I thought he was going to be coming home.
Right.
So,
And that's the other thing, too, I want to make a point, too, because, again, if this happened and any of my family members were gone, I'm not good at sitting around and waiting.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
and
I would be
that's
up
not
doing
something I wanted to do. So, like, every day I was out, driving around Clarion or Brookville, and I went out to Knox where he grew up, and I was like, maybe he went to his mom's house. Well, I mean, she's not alive anymore, but maybe he went, to the house that he grew up in.
Right.
So I was just kind of, there's got to be more that I can be doing right now, or anybody can be doing. So that's whenever I made the TikTok, because I was kind of just tired of, we're driving around, we're looking for him. There's a bolo out, if someone sees him, they'll let us know.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's when I made the TikTok, and that blew up. I did not expect it to blow up the way that it did, but it blew up. And then what would that be, Sunday, Mother's Day, I reached out that morning, and I was like, is there anything that you guys are doing new? I was like, can we get maybe like a canine unit or volunteers, anything? And they were like, well, because I called Clarion State originally. They were like, well, that's not our jurisdiction. You need to call Punxsutawney State. So I called Punxsutawney State, and they're like, well, we're not the ones investigating it. You need to call Brookville Borough. And I was like,
because again, it's like, well, that's just assuming that he stayed in Jefferson County.
Exactly.
It's like, well, I'm under the impression that he might be leaving Jefferson County, so therefore, don't we need to open up resources to other counties and think, well, maybe he, you know what I mean, like that. Yeah. Again, I'm just a regular person, so I don't understand why other people don't think of this stuff. But, maybe there's something I don't know, but
that morning the night before, I had called his boss, because I was like, let me make sure, did he actually put in for vacation, or did he just disappear?
Good thinking.
So I called his boss, and I was like, hey, what was the last thing my dad said? And he's like, well, he put in for vacation until the 19th. I was like, did he happen to tell you where he was going? And he was like, well, he told me he was going to Wisconsin to see a friend of his. And I was like, okay. And so I know what friend they're talking about. I contacted her. She's like, I haven't heard from him since Wednesday. I was like, he's not coming out. He's like, he didn't say anything to me. He's like, he doesn't know my address. No.
Yeah.
So he did mention that he is supposedly going to Wisconsin.
Yeah. And that's when I called. Yeah. And that's when I called the police and was like, he told his boss this. So the officer that picked it up, he was like, okay, well, would you like to sign a declaration, which would make him missing nationwide?
A bolo in Wisconsin.
I did see you mention that, yeah.
So, and he would be considered in danger. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. So I signed the declaration, and he set it out. And he's like, I'll contact you if there's any information. He also went to the gas station that he pulled money from to try and get camera footage. But apparently the angle of the camera, you can't see the road.
What?
The light. So I was like, oh, gosh. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
And there's nothing else either right there either. Like,
no. There's a car wash, but I don't even think they had cameras.
I doubt it. Man.
Most of them do anymore, but I'm not sure about Brookville.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm just trying to think of the next point of access, because people went this way, figure Main Street, all of that, or up past.
And that's what I was like.
Cameras are really good.
Yeah. And it had already been 48 hours, and I'm like, we don't even know which way he went. And usually, like, the first 48 to 72 hours is the most important, especially in cases like this. Yeah. And I'm like, nobody is, like, I was getting so frustrated and stressed. I'm like, nobody's taking it as seriously as they should be.
Right.
like, especially with the contents of the note. And I'm like, there's got to be something.
Well,
Like,
that's what I thought, because I mean, like, I was just told that intersection, like where the Hilltop gas station used to be, is completely redone now. So I
Mhm.
mean, like, there's got to definitely be cameras
Yeah.
there. So I mean, like, within 10 minutes of him leaving Sunoco, he would have either shown up somewhere on Main Street, Brookville, or somewhere in the intersection up by
Yeah.
where the Hilltop used to be. So
Mhm.
again,
Right.
knowing what direction he went, because we were just talking about this too. The Allegheny National Forest is like our backyard. It's huge.
Yeah.
You could hide in that
Yeah.
forest for months and nobody'd find you. You could also, again, you know, maybe I went out there to blow off some steam, didn't realize how
And get lost.
right, and get lost and not have
Exactly.
any resources,
Yeah.
no phone, no nothing, and now he's unintentionally endangered himself.
Yeah.
To where, like, again, like cross county, you think that they'd be willing to let people volunteer and maybe
Mhm.
go out and look. I mean, at what point do you need it to be to get like a search party and things like that
Exactly.
and other cross county resources? Like,
Wow.
why does it have to be
Mhm.
so bad of a
Yeah.
situation before that takes place? Like,
Unfortunately, it's too long before that happens.
So, I mean,
and
like,
that's what's not
just
fair.
wait a week,
Yeah.
you know,
You
and
know.
lose
Mhm.
all this valuable time where he might have been able
Yeah.
to be saved or something.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's what I was like, well, usually most people aren't considered missing until the first 48 hours. And, well, my cousin is a state trooper. He's like, with a note like that, that's not true. He's like,
Not if
with
there's
a
a
note like
note.
that, immediately
No.
he should have been considered missing.
Right, because
Yeah.
that
and in
shows at least a
danger.
little bit of intent, at least in one direction or the other, that he
Yeah.
obviously was in a situation
Yeah.
where he might have been inclined to hurt himself or something like
Mhm.
that. So I mean, the first
That's a
minutes
red
are so
flag.
crucial.
Yeah.
Like, that's why you rushed over there. You didn't
Mhm.
say, that didn't sound normal, I'll go over there tomorrow.
Yeah,
You know, like, you
exactly.
knew exactly what that sounded like, so you went over.
And he didn't
Yeah.
take anything with him other than his ID in his car. Like, he
Right.
just got brand new dentures 2 weeks ago, didn't take them. Didn't take his reading glasses. Didn't take clothes. I'm like, he's not going on vacation. He's not
Right.
planning on coming back.
Right.
And so I was like, and I told the cops that. I was like, he doesn't have anything on him but his ID. I was like, do you know what that looks like?
To identify.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I mean, like, that's checking essentially, all the boxes as far as red flags as
Yeah.
to why,
Mhm.
you would want to act swiftly. And again, not, discouraging everybody from going to the police, but it is a little bit sad because
Does he go hunting?
He used to go hunting, but that was years ago, probably like 11, 12 years ago, and he hasn't done it since.
Do you know his
he
favorite
doesn't frequent in the
spots?
woods or nothing like that. Yeah, where would he go if he was
Where
going to
would
go
he
hide
go?
somewhere?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
And
would he go?
I really couldn't even. Well, Cook's Forest was a big one, and my mom went out and was looking there, and they used to go dancing out at Ray's Hotspot out there as well. So she was kind of looking around, and I had mentioned it to a couple different people on Facebook. I was like, his, I'm trying to think. I think it's my cousin. She lives out there, and she's like, well, we'll be out there, and we're gonna look around, see if he's in any of the woods, or maybe he like got a cabin for the weekend or something. So and they hadn't seen anything, and I went out towards Marionville a little bit, and I really couldn't see his car, and so, but he really wasn't